Good morning. I want to say thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Anything for
Here,
one of the legends in sub 2.
I want to say thank you very, very, very much. It is just a little after 7 my time, which I know makes it 5 your time, and you are incredible for being willing to talk. And also, I'm so glad I thought of doing this way so that we can share it with more people.
Yes, I
Th-
agree.
Thank you. Okay, so Chino, first thing I have to say is it's been a little while since you and I have talked, and it's interesting to see servant leader. God bless you.
Well, it's a calling.
I know, I get it. And we're all trying to find our way and trying to figure out, what's best for us to do in this field of real estate and working with people. And it is not easy at all. It's so complex and there's
I
so many different options. And the reason that I am speaking with you right now is because I had started in co-living and
Mhm.
it took me a lot to get, and I went through hell and back to get the property that I have up, and it was difficult to fill it. So I ended up going with pad split, and pad split was good in filling it. However, I am not where I'd like to be.
Okay.
Because what I'm finding is that there's a heck of a lot of fingers in the pie,
Mm.
and it's not passive at all. And therefore, I thought it would be passive. Once I brought Pad Split in and also a management company, I thought it'd be passive. It's not.
Yeah.
And I had a situation where one of the members inappropriate towards one of our cleaners. And that just really made me go, police reports, he was out real fast. I realized that I it wasn't the right thing for me. I had no control, and at the same time, it was still bothering me when that happened. It wasn't like, oh well, that's their situation. It was more of he did what in the house I worked so hard for to this lady? Well, how did he even get in? And background checks are one thing, but another, there were no rules. So I started to look around, and
Yeah.
the reason that I have come to you is that I'm thinking that providing housing for low income folks is not mission focused enough. Like it serves a population, a very large population, but I would like to get to something that is a bit more mission driven as opposed to just how many rooms can you get out of a house. Which is
Mhm.
not really what I was doing. I was looking to see how many people can I help. But it's gotten complicated and so little of that money is going back to pay for the 10 years I'm going to need to pay to break even because it was such a bad situation that I started to look for other options. And one of the options that was suggested was transitional housing. And you were the first person I thought of because I know you're serving the homeless. And that is ever since you said that's what I'm going to do. I mean, even before then, but at that time, that was it. There's a part of my heart that has Chino written on it, so I thought I have to talk with you because more than likely you could guide me in how to find the right mission, the right community organization to
Mm.
partner with so that this can be put to fuller use, this home, and I can go on and get the second one and the third one and the fourth one because I want to scale. And I can't scale if I haven't figured this one out yet.
Yes.
So, if you would be so kind, tell our audience how you started in helping the homeless and what were the steps involved, and
Mm.
how can someone like me who would like to connect with an organization that, knows what they're doing, has their act together in helping a particular group a little bit more defined than just low income, because low
Mhm.
income is so wide. I think that was part of the problem, but I don't know. And how I can proceed so that I can put the house to better use standalone so that I can go on and get more.
Yes. Okay. So I'm not going to give you my blueprints, the full blueprint. What I'm going to give you is a niche of that blueprint. The reason why is because my team and I, we help anyone and everyone. That means anyone and everyone. It doesn't matter what type of demographic they're in. It doesn't matter what type of background they have. It doesn't matter if they just got out of prison. It doesn't matter, right? I have multiple houses across the valley, and they're very specific to each demographic.
Right.
You mentioned transitional housing. I have that as well. So I have bridge housing. I have
Did
transitional
you say
housing.
bridge?
Bridge housing.
Okay.
I have transitional housing. I have living homes. I have parolee homes. I have all male. I have all female, co-eds, so sober living slash sobriety environment homes, and as well as semi-assisted living homes.
Oh, okay. I think I
All
understood almost all of them except the first one. What's a
bridge.
bridge house?
So bridge housing could very well be, let's say a person just got out of prison and they need to send them over to, let's say, to halfway house.
Okay.
Halfway house, that particular halfway house, which by the way, federally, there's only one halfway house company that is approved
Oh,
of station. Don't ask me the name. You can Google that.
only one?
Only one. Only one. Yeah. I
Okay.
think every one that claims that they're halfway house, they're not halfway house. There's
Interesting.
only one. Um, so when they get out of prison, they have to wait for the halfway house to have an availability. If they don't have an availability, federal agents then find a temporary place for them. They either get put in a motel, hotel, or the shelter. Yeah. So instead of doing all of that, they place their people with us. Yeah.
Or
Until
bridge until the halfway
is
housing becomes available?
yep, until halfway house is available.
I'm sure they're very glad to be there instead of a motel.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a lot better for the federal agents to keep track of the people because our properties are already vetted. Yeah. So
Okay. So now I understand what bridge housing is. How long do they stay there?
it depends. It could be 1 day, it could be 30 days. It
Okay.
really depends. Yeah.
Okay. So you talk, there's so many different categories, Chino. How did you
Mhm.
get to know them all? And how did you have housing in all of them? That's a huge stack.
It is. So that's why, like, you have to niche it down, right? Like, especially if you're just starting out. Because I started out as I was brought in by the main character to be the closer, and I didn't even know what a closer was. She just brought me in because she saw my raw talent. During that time,
What is a closer?
someone who just goes and win people over.
Okay. Well, you can do that really well.
Yeah, she recognized my raw talent 6 months into real estate. So I became her realtor, and then quickly we became business partners because she really loved, I guess, the way I connect with others. And then she brought me into the fold as somebody that who would go to have fancy dinners with CEOs, pharmaceutical company owners, etc. Right? All the big wigs. So I would close those relationships, and then they would send over their patients to us so that we could house them and provide medical services. That was my job. Well, my role in that partnership. Then shortly after that, fast forward to today, I now do both. So I serve the forefront of it all. Like I've been serving the less fortunate since I was by myself back in long time ago, 2017, when I started packing sandwiches and handing them a bottle of water. And then now I'm also, well, since now I identify myself as a visionary of the company, I go and close those relationships and build relationships with them and then work with them. Which, side note, by the way, as of yesterday, I just got into a partnership with one of the major hospitals here in Las Vegas. Effie, like,
Congratulations, Chino.
thank you. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know how I did that. Like, she just came to me. She's like, I heard you speak. I could feel your passion. I would like to work with you. I'm like, yes, man, I know who you are.
That's so fantastic.
Yeah,
Congratulations. I think that's awesome.
thank you, thank you,
Wow. Now,
thank you.
when you first met this, you said lady, right? That you hired you as her closer. Is that like one organization with all these different things in it? Or how's it working?
So there
Because
was
I've
no,
kind of got the big picture.
yeah, there was no organization. She was running the show, and she needed help. She needed help to be someone who like would meet and greet these high level individuals, and that was, and then it just grew in a matter of 6 months. I successfully acquired 9 properties, I believe. Yeah, yes.
Okay. How did you
And,
do that? And who's the lady that you're helping or working with?
well, I no longer work with her, but how I did that was creative finance without knowing it was creative finance because it was before Sub Two. It was before I joined Sub Two.
Okay.
So I know we're deviating right now from the topic, but so the way I acquire properties is I'm going to end homelessness, which is through lease options.
Hey.
Yeah. So it's very easy, right? Like it's very like I had this conversation with Celeste Samante, shout out to her. She's
Hmm.
in Boston, amazing, amazing individual. So when I started sharing my knowledge with her, I told her about you could actually rent these properties out because that's how I started through lease options.
Were you leasing the properties like a arbitrage?
Yes,
Okay, so you were
absolutely.
leasing a property from a landlord saying,
Mhm.
"Hey, I'm gonna do some good with this house." And then were you putting it together yourself or were you giving it to a nonprofit, like working with a nonprofit?
So during that time, we did not work with nonprofit organizations yet. My business partners, they were all in the medical fields.
Nice.
Yeah. So it only made sense that they run the show.
Got it.
Even our one of our operators, she was a nurse, and then the other operator was he's a military veteran, and he's our social worker slash case manager.
Okay. Well, that's a great team to start with.
Correct. Until it became it didn't.
Oh,
Yeah. That's the reason why I'm in this space now. Because I believe that our people can progress forward, right? I do understand that there are, like population that are needing more help, such as schizophrenic, bipolar, and as well as schizoaffective. I understand that. I understand that. So audience, don't get me wrong. However, the less fortunate is more than that, right? There's a lot of them different demographics that they just need a boost. They need somebody to show them the way, to give them hope, right? Because we all start with hope, right?
yeah.
Hope to the other end, right? However, like life started lifing, right? So therefore, they lost the hope, right? So my team and I now, like the team that I have, freaking amazing. Shout out to Tai Chi team. The way I operate is the way I train my people so that they can operate the same way, right? And I have created a team to where like each operator is designated for a certain demographic.
Cool. So they would get to know them quite well.
That is correct. Yes. So that's why going back to our main topic is transitional housing, right? Because transitional housing, it is before independent living home slash permanent housing,
Right.
right? You have to pick, like, let me say, like 2 different ways that you have to take. One, you have to pick the organization that you want to work with,
Okay.
whether single moms, domestic violence, sex traffic victims, right? It could be veterans, it could be formerly incarcerated, it could be anyone, right? But you have to pick and choose that, right? And then understand why the pain. Don't ask what happened. This is not an interrogative journey.
Yeah.
This is a compassion journey, right?
Yeah.
You have to understand why the pain
Yeah.
so that you can serve them a lot better.
Yep.
So so that you understand where to place them. Because you may have a beautiful property. However, if it doesn't serve them, it doesn't do any good.
Right.
What do I mean by that? Okay, so for instance, let's say a demographic that you want to help, such as single moms. They have kids, right? However you want to structure your house, whether you create division, dividers, whatever walls that you may have in the house, right? You have to make sure that the house is near daycare centers, right?
Playgrounds. Yep.
Not only that, you have to make sure that these daycares accept grants, because if you know that these child daycares accept grants, that means they're already receiving grants. That means for these homeless single moms, they can get into that space so they don't have to pay a ton of money to
Yeah.
put there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Have
So
you ever had any experience with uh, youngsters that are aging out of the system
all day,
all day?
all the time.
Because my heart breaks that they are they get to a point and then bye bye. And it's like, what? I'm rather partial to them, although I am open to just about any group.
Yeah,
I don't want to have to rechange the house too much because of the cost that's gone into it.
yeah,
But I am open to, like there's such a need everywhere.
correct. Yeah. So my opinion is go where your heart pulls you, right? So for instance, if you want to serve the aged out kids, right? Effie, I don't know if you know this, 80% of the homeless population comes from foster care.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. So
Very.
in every county, they have programs, because the way these grants work is that federal funds, they get split or they get sent out to all 50 states. Each state, they distribute their grants to each county. And
Okay.
the county that you're in is what dictates what type of funds that they have for what demographic. So if you want to serve young adults, right, or kids that are aging out of the system, they have programs for that. Right here, particularly Clark County, Nevada, we have 18 to 21, I believe. It used to be 18 to 24. They reduced it down to 21. I could be mistaken. They probably brought it back, just different name. So the way that works is that they would support these young adults for up to 1 year.
1 year?
Up to 1 year. I mean,
Doesn't quite seem enough, does it?
it's not enough. So you, as the servant leader, you need to create a system for them that works. What do I mean by that? Right? To the audience that's listening, you need to find business owners that are more than willing to hire them so that you can set them up for success. You need to find free education type of classes, right? Another organization, maybe, right? That could be working with your state programs that these young adults can take classes from, right? That way they can progress forward, right? Also, life lessons type of teachings, right? They also need that to prepare them, right? So you have to set them up for success. And then the other, it's all about, is it FS, finance, shelter, safety. So teach them about finance, provide them shelter, and then provide them safety, right? So now you have to look into educating them to become financially responsible, right? Find
Yep.
people that can do that. I do that myself for my people.
Oh, okay.
So every morning, actually at 6 o'clock is my first class. Starts every day. Yeah, I do sales training and social skills training with the veterans that we serve. So
Nice.
I'm in charge of our veterans, right? And then our other operators, they're in charge of with different demographics. Yeah. So my sales training is not just sales; it's how to interact with people. Because at the end of the day, you need to understand how to close people. And how I do things is through humanized conversations. It works wonders. It works very well with every demographic there is. Once you understand humanized conversations, because it's very important, right? I want to highlight this. Yeah, I've been doing this for 4.5 years, altogether with my other business partners for over 10 years. I have not had a single eviction.
Wait, as soon as that guy did that, I was like, you're out.
A thing called that I created Chino eviction.
Oh, that's so funny. What's a Chino Vixen? Tell me.
It is legit just humanizing that conversation, right? It works so well. The longest Chino eviction I've ever done was 10 hours straight, 30 days. Usually when you do an eviction, it lasts about 30 days. Could be longer, depends which state you're in. Not with me. The longest I've ever done it was 10 hours. And the shortest, the fastest was when I showed up to the house, the lady that was living in there, she cleaned the whole house like spotless. She left, she moved out before I got there.
Wow.
Yeah, humanizing conversations help a lot.
Nice. Nice. I love it. I love it. When you got started, which group did you start with? But you have a huge organization. Right now, I'm just trying to get this house a better direction so I can go and get a second house and do it again. So I am definitely at the baby stage. But talk to me about your growth trajectory in this realm.
Sure. So when I started, the demographic that we helped was referral based, right? From hospitals, rehab centers, clinics, you name it. We never went out. I did, right? My business partners, they didn't do the whole community outreach, right? Because these are medical professionals. So they would get their referral base from their friends. They've been doing that for years, right?
Okay.
And me, like, I go out there, I serve pack sandwiches, I hand them a bottle of water, right? By myself, right? Until early last year, 2024. But because of, I don't want to like say something negative, but because of the things that I do not like from that partnership, it was, we did not align because I want to see my people progress forward. And they did not believe in family culture because every time that we would have, and I'm going to answer your question. Let me just say this. Every time that we would have a meeting, it would always be property number one, we cops showing up at 2 in the morning, property number two at 3 in the morning, cops showed up, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And every other property, an ambulance would show up, right? And then I challenged them and said, have you guys ever stopped and just think that it's not them, it's us? We are the common denominator. In every sober living home, transitional housing, these are normal occurrence. They happen all the time. So it cannot be the people that they're serving. It has to be the servants. Why do I say that? Because there's no family culture in a lot of them. I'm not saying in a lot of them. The people that they serve, they treat them like numbers.
That's one of the issues I have with the co-living. It's like there's no common space. It's like they're supposed to be in the room or out. And
Correct.
I'm like, I have a great deck. I wanted to
Yeah,
buy deck furniture. They're like, no, don't buy deck furniture because then they'll just sit there and gather. I'm like, uh,
yeah, that,
I
yeah.
want to do that. I'd want to sit and talk.
Yep,
The concept of not being alone. Because
correct.
what you have is you have 9 people and they're all living alone.
Exactly. So Effie, that company is what is called?
Are you talking about Pat Split?
Yep. So there's Pass Split and there's Chino Split.
I love it.
So like it started as a joke. However, it's very intentional. Chino Split is, we have big great rooms, big living rooms, communal area, because it's all family culture. And this is what I was trying to tell my former business partners. I told them, like, it cannot be them, it's us. And then a nurse stepped up and said, Chino, we've been doing this for decades. You're the new guy. You don't know what you're talking about. And then our veteran social worker said, Chino, you're trying to change them. Cannot. There's no hope for them. And that right there, I was like, okay, this is not the right people to work with. Not for me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't-
because in my opinion, a good family culture would go a long way in helping
Yeah.
situation.
You know who thinks that? Yes.
Yeah, of course.
He created a family culture community.
Yep,
All the reason why you and I got connected, right? That's the reason
exactly.
having a Zoom at 5 in the morning. You see what I'm saying? So, like, that's why, like, I love Faith so much because of the fact that it aligns with my values, right? This is before Sub2, right? This was happening that I knew about family culture, but it was never been done before. So when I left that partnership, because I told them, like, I'm going to start something on my own. And then they were like, well, Chino, you're going to undercut us. That means you're going to charge less. I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh. Why do people
yeah, yeah,
feel like,
yeah,
you're going to take all the oxygen they breathe? It's a blue ocean that people, lots of people need help. Not going
right.
to take your clients.
Yeah. I told them, well, it gets worse because the people that I'm gonna serve have low to no money.
Exactly.
And they were like, well, then you're asking for a headache. I'm like, figure it out. How to help them. And I did. So going back to transitional housing is a step forward, and it should be a step forward progressing to either independent living homes or
Yep.
having your own homes, which I created the 4 stages of housing. Right. Number one is for young adults, the demographic that you brought up.
Yep.
Okay. However, with young adults, 60% of that whatever housing that you're going to place them in, they're going to fail. They're going to fall through the cracks. You, as a servant leader, you need to come up with a plan.
Yep.
You have a choice of looking the other way or implement the backup plan, which is stage two housing. That is independent living homes.
Nice.
These independent living homes, exactly that. They are now completely independent from organizations. However, there are a lot of a lot of our people that are in the independent living homes, they still receive some sort of help, like moving cost assistance, rental assistance, housing assistance, whatever it may be, right?
Hmm.
There's verbiage for different organizations, and you have to be very clear and cover all of them as bullet points when you reach out to them,
Okay.
when you get to that point, right? Because the people that you're serving, they don't know that there are programs out there for them. So you, as a servant leader that's housing them, you need to know these things,
Got
right?
it.
When you send out that email, make sure that you're verbalizing it, you're covering all different aspects. To me, it's all serving them, putting a roof over their head. But to the person reading that email, they could be black and white. Why? Because they could just be somebody that they just hired, never had any experience in homelessness, right? Not compassionate enough, right? Doesn't mean that they're any less. However, they just don't understand, right? Whenever we would send our people, because like I learned really fast, right? Whenever I would tell our people, like in the beginning, I was like, yeah, you just gotta reach out to these organizations or insurance, your insurance even, right? Hey, do you have any housing assistance? But the person on the other side of that screen, the computer screen, reads their policy and says, well, we don't have that. But they will not tell you what they have because what they have on their screen legit verbalizes as rental assistance, moving cost assistance, deposit assistance.
Interesting.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why you got to create all these verbiage as
Mhm.
bullet points so that they can read it and then they can relate to what they got. You
Yeah.
would think it's common sense, right? It's not.
Yeah.
I talked to the policy makers for different Medicaid insurance. I got connected with them. I got connected with the right people. And I told them my concerns. I told them like, I commend what you guys are doing, that you guys are working so hard, but there's a hurdle, which is the forefront people, the admins, ones that are answering the emails.
Yeah.
I do this because my people are reporting back to me and telling me, you know, that they said that they don't. And I'm like, okay, let me read the email. What did you say? Instead of having those bullet points that I just shared with you or with our audience, they would just say housing assistance.
So the terminology is very specific and they're very small, like straight to that, or else they say no.
Correct.
Interesting.
Yep. So that's one way to start your transitional housing. There's another way.
Okay.
Reach out to these organizations and ask them, hey, I have a house. How many are you guys looking to utilize to place your people? Do not ask a yes or no question. The reason why is because now you're challenging psychologically.
Yep.
You're making them think, how many do we need? How many people do we have in our system right now in our pipeline that we need to house transitionally? You see what I'm saying?
Yep. Let them find the way by offering it in a think I'm here to help as opposed to do you? Yes, no.
Correct. Yeah. And then the fact that Effie, you were a school teacher. Okay, yes, that's great that you worked in sales. But if let's say like if you're a school teacher, right? Like you want to help young adults. All these organizations. Why do you want to help young adults? Because the last thing that these organizations want to hear is that another investor is calling us to fill their house.
Yes, I understand. Yep.
You see what I'm
Yes, yes, yes. I
saying?
totally understand.
You want to step it up a notch, go volunteer at their organization. Yeah. Build that relationship.
I think volunteering is a very important part
Yeah.
of getting connected. But tell me how you identified the actual organizations. Speaking to the niche that I'm thinking of, how should I go about identifying who they are? First off, there's two challenges. I'm in Chicagoland and my property is in Charlotte. So I have that part. But I'm also thinking of converting this home. This
Mhm.
home is too big for me,
I
and
see.
it's set up with a chairlift and a bathroom that's specifically made for chairlifts because the last family had a child that was handicapped.
Mm.
So I'm thinking that it would might be a good thing to find an organization that can get better use out of it, and I can just move out and go rent a one bedroom or something like that,
Yeah.
because it's a lot of house.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Charlotte, is that North Carolina or South
Yep.
Carolina?
No, north.
So we have a lot of friends over there, right?
We do.
North Carolina, especially in Charlotte.
Do you have people who work in the same field as you there?
Unfortunately, I don't know that many people that are doing what I do that I know, right? There's only very few, there's only a handful that I can think of, and none of them are in Charlotte area. The best way to do this is call around these organizations and ask the questions
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You let them know that you really want to help.
Yep. I've gotcha. Any chance you're connected with anybody here in Chicago?
Nita Patel.
Yeah, but I don't think she's doing this kind of housing, is she?
Well, the last time that we spoke, because we've been so freaking busy, her and I, we haven't reconnected. The last time we spoke, she wanted to serve, I think it was DV victims, especially
Oh,
women.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, that's a good point. That's a
yeah.
good point. I'll definitely reach out with Nita. Excuse me, I have been sick. So fortunately, I'm about to sneeze. So, you said you know of a couple of people only in our group, not on camera, but perhaps you can give me a short list so I can talk to a couple of others throughout the country would be good. I got to give this a little bit more thought. But if I'm going to do this, I will be doing a similarly to you in this regard. I
Sure.
would want to build a community, enlarge the community in sub two that, Airbnb has a group. Pad Split, anyways, I'm looking forward to leaving them. But Pad Split, has a group. I think it'd be nice if we could cultivate this and make it more accessible
Sure.
because you immediately came to my mind and you're an incredible wealth of knowledge. And if you'll let me, at some point, I'd love to come out and learn firsthand from you in Vegas. But I will want to also do what I'm doing now say, hey, let's do this on a podcast because maybe there'll be some other people that it plants a seed or they've been trying to figure it out. And something you said or something I asked might be fruitful.
So whenever other leaders come out to Vegas and they want to spend a whole day with me, like see what I do, it's not that special, in my opinion, right? It's very normal to me. So I show them like, okay, let's go to one of my houses. Let's pick up like a bunch of sleeping bags, and then we'll do ninja night ops. Right? That's one. That
Mhm.
means you and I would go out there, hand out sleeping bags.
Yep.
To, did not make it inside the shelter, especially the ones that don't have a tent, don't have a sleeping bag. They're just sleeping on the floor, on the concrete. Right? So that's one way. Another way is we pack sandwiches during daytime and then hand them out with bottled water. Why is this important? I suppose because I know the leaders that when they come here, they want to see my operations. It's not like that though.
I want to see whatever you want me to see.
Yeah,
I don't think I could come for one day.
yeah.
I think I'd
So
have to come for considerably longer.
right. So what I share with these you know, with other leaders when they come here or anyone no matter, it is legit just a humanized experience, right? Because a lot of us when we're so busy, we forget that the systems don't matter. It's the human aspect is what matters. So that's why like when I say like systemizing people can only work for so long
Mm.
and then stops working. We tried doing this as a nation in the 90s or even before that, and it didn't work. It's called the projects. This is when the government decided to ex- exclude a certain demographic, thinking that they would thrive there. And I'm like, no, they won't thrive there. You need to understand that putting people in a building, such as an apartment building for low income, you are creating a prison, right? What do I mean by that? In my opinion, from my experience, you cannot take somebody out of their tent, place them in a building right next to your tent. Because if you truly want to help the less fortunate, you need to be able to help with their mindset. And how you're going to help change your mindset is by changing their environment first. We are a product of our environment. I'm from the hood myself. I know what it's like to struggle when it comes to going to sleep hungry, right? Or being surrounded with drugs and gangs and violence and all the things, right? I know that type of mindset. I am blessed and lucky. I don't believe in luck, but blessed that I'm able to see it from a very far perspective.
Yeah.
In order to help our people, we as investors, we need to do better. Create better environment for them so they can thrive.
Right.
Right. Well, is it going to be perfect all the time? Absolutely not. This is where you're going to be tested with your patience and love. That's why when investors fly in and they want me to show them that, yes, I'll show you. It is legit just showing love towards others because the demographic that we serve, it doesn't matter what type of demographic they are. You're not out there and judging people, handing out a sleeping bag. Well, sir, are you a felon? No, you don't deserve this, right? This
Yeah.
person deserves this because this person is not a felon. Do that.
Yeah.
We see a human being, they're struggling, especially I don't know if I shared this with you, Effie, how Ninja Night Ops started. It was Christmas Eve last year when I was on my way to my sister's house. By the way, I'm not religious. I have a close relationship with God. And, you know, I talked to him like he's one of the homies.
He is.
Yes. And, you know, like, I heard they told me they turn around, go check on my other kids. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna turn around. I turn around and I went to one of the spots where I would hand out sandwiches and water. And the very first person that I saw was a man with no socks, no shoes, with just a black trash bag. He was putting his feet in there so that he could stay warm. That broke me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I started crying and I'm like, so I went back home. Luckily, I had like all these supplies. And these supplies came from our friends in Sub 2 Gator Owners Club, but most of them did not have any names. And I did not know who they came from. I just found out later on, right? Effie, when I opened up the whole sandwiches and water to investors early last year, January 2024, throughout the whole year, that's when random things would show up at my house. Some would have names, some wouldn't, right? Random. And I didn't understand. And I would get mad at myself. I was like, what am I going to do with 10 sleeping bags? I packed 300 sandwiches, 600 sandwiches. Am I going to say, like, oh, man, you don't deserve the sleeping bag? It's a person that has a kid deserves the sleeping bag more, right? I can't do that to my people. I did not understand what he was doing was preparing me for that specific night.
Interesting.
So now it became a thing to where now, like, we go at night and hand him out, right? Certain individuals, right? It opens up your mind, not just as an investor, but as a human being, like, that we're here to serve others.
Yeah. And I think it was Oscar and his daughter. Audrey that say God is an investor
There you go.
because he invests in people. He invests in you. And I love that. I love that. I was like, he is definitely putting into us. What we do with it is really important. So I know the word investor can mean money, but it's more than that.
It is. I,
Wow.
I invest in people. And another reason why I invest in people is because I'm creating my clones, right? I'm in charge of our homeless and disabled veterans. So I'm creating my own clones through them.
Yeah.
They can create their own clones that are also, homeless, disabled veterans, so that their clones can serve civilians,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So we copy and paste, and then we multiply, divide and conquer, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
right. So when you get here, I will show you that it's very simple, but be prepared to go back home as a whole different person, different perspective.
I believe it. I believe it. I mean, I thought serving, low income people would be a, a challenge enough. And it is. It's just that too many fingers in the pie that I can't really help. And that I'm arguing with. So I'd rather be more aligned, more mission driven. And I'm trying to choose and think a bit more about which particular niche and go from there. And I will give that more thought, but I have so much I can learn from you, Gino. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Two last little things. One, out of all the groups that you serve, where do you think that there's the greatest need?
So to me, I'm gonna get some sort of comments from this. From my opinion, from the things that I've seen, that I've experienced, the demographic that has it the worst are the veterans.
Really?
Yeah, I understand there are single moms out there. I understand. I serve anyone and everyone. Don't get me wrong.
Yes, I understand that. That's what I was asking. Like, where is there the biggest gap?
The veterans.
Wow, that's really amazing given what they have had to go through
Yeah,
and what they're giving us.
yeah. Oh, 1,000. So that's why I'm so passionate about this, right? They once they get discharged, whether it's honorable, dishonorable, other than honorable, general discharge, they're given a to-do list, right? Oh yeah, you can go here, you can start there, and then that place will give them another list to go to. Well, guess what, Effie? They are now homeless because of the to-do list. There's not enough hand holding. Do you see what I'm saying?
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, there's not enough hand holding. And a lot of our military family, our veterans, they're used to doing things out of orders, right?
Hmm.
Instruction, but they're never alone.
Yeah, yeah. Because they're
But
in the group.
exactly. So they thrive in a group setting, right? Because that's how they've been trained in the military. But our government fails to see that. Once they get out, once they discharge them, you need to put them in a group setting so they can thrive together,
Yep.
not just to do lists.
Yep.
But the group setting has to have somebody like instructor, right?
Yep.
Leading the right, leading the pack. And the reason why is because they need somebody to handhold them. Where do we go? The latest veteran that we served, a Marine veteran, and we saw him at an event. Shout out to Nevada Homeless Alliance. We are now their providers. We've been their provider partner for a while now. And when he came to our table, like me, I'm such a straightforward type of person, like no BS type of person. I will call you out if it is a BS. And so I asked him, so like, how long you been out here like, in the streets? Better yet, how long have you been discharged? So he goes, "This is 2017." I said, all right. I just gave you a list where to go to get your veteran ID, right? All the things. I said, you're not going to do it. They said, yes, I am. I'm like, you're not going to do it. I said, number one, you've been homeless for this long. With all the respect, right? Thank you for your service. I never told you that earlier. You're not going to do it because you don't have anyone hand holding you. All right. Go to the other booths. Right after the event, I called one of my operators that was with me because we already split. Hey, what's his phone number? Give me his phone number. I'm gonna go pick him up wherever he's at, and then you handle these other things." He goes, "Okay." So I called him up, and I was like, "Where are you at?" He said, "I'm on a bus." I'm like, "Wherever you're at, get off the bus now. I'm gonna take you myself to get your veteran ID, and then I'll take you back to the shelter right after, because I have an appointment. I have back-to-back appointments in a couple hours." And he goes, "Okay." So I picked him up. He got off the bus. I picked him up, took him myself. I do this all the time, handhold him, right? So took him back to the shelter. The following day, I picked him up from the shelter. Had already made arrangement from my other house, and I told him, "I have a place for you."
Nice,
He,
nice.
he's been with us ever since. And I placed him in a home where our house lead was also a Marine veteran
Nice.
who did not believe in living in a shared housing space.
He didn't know Chino.
It was so crazy because so I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in everything happens for a reason, right? This gentleman, this Marine veteran, it took him 8 months to finally come home to us.
Nice.
The first meeting that we had was I went into his studio because he had like some sort of voucher, from US Vets. I went to go meet him in person, and as soon as he opened the door, you could see like black nimbus cloud of cigarette smoke
Whoa!
because he would smoke inside his unit. And then we just sit there in the dark. And then he's got like a huge jug of vodka and a huge jug of lemonade. That's all he did all day, right?
My god.
And the very first thing that he said, "I don't want to live with other people." And I just smiled because as a visionary, I saw right away his true potential, his superpowers. And his superpowers, when it flashed right in front of me, was him leading a group of people, that he would thrive in it, that he would live with them, right? But I didn't say that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I just kept showing up. Every time that, we would hang out, every time that he would call, he had called me before that he was so depressed. It's early morning, called me like around this time. "Chino, I'm not a Marine anymore." That was like a couple
Mm.
months after, right? I gave him his space, right? And then called me out of nowhere. "Chino, I'm not a Marine anymore." And it's like, I didn't think, I want to be here anymore. As soon as he said that, I'm like, "All right, I'm going to go see you. I'm going to get ready. I'm going to pick you up." "No, no, 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 I don't need no help, I just wanted to call you." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but at this point, we're already homies, and I don't leave nobody behind." So therefore, I cleared my schedule out. I talked to, my business partners. I'm like, "Hey, I gotta do this, clear everything out. I gotta bounce." We spent morning until late at night.
Wow.
I picked him up, he was crying. We spent in his cloudy, studio. I have cigarettes, um, for a good 3 hours, just having a humanized conversation, just him, crying, and I cried with him. And then, went to go have something to eat, and then I took him like, "Listen, I'm gonna take you right now to where I go hand out care packs, right? Resources, whatever, bottles of water." And so I did that, and the last person that we helped was a veteran, was a Navy veteran, and he started smiling. He goes, "This is what I'm talking about," right? And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "You do this all the time?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." It's like, "Hey, feel like I'm alive again." I'm like, "Yeah, let's go have dinner. Let's go see your veterans." So I took him to a different property full of veterans and veteran spouses that live in that property. And we had dinner. We had a family dinner. He got to interact with them, all the things. And shortly after that, he came home to us, and now he leads a group of people, mostly veterans, in a house. He didn't ask to lead. He just started stepping up.
Yep.
He saw that there was a need.
Yep.
Those are the
And
true
he has something to offer.
correct. Like when man, like I'm so freaking proud of him that I talk so big about him because like he went from nah, I don't want to live with anyone. I don't believe in sharing a house. To like now, like, hey, bro, I think so and so need to be part of the sales team, even though he's not a veteran. I'm like, let him in. And that's it, right? So
No,
he sees, his
the
people's,
potential.
yeah. And then now he's doing the things that I'm doing.
Good,
A
good.
great code, right?
Exactly, exactly. That's really awesome. That's really awesome. Well, I want to thank you very, very much for your time now. And do please text me, whatever, whoever else you think I should talk to, because there's
Mhm.
a lot of learning to do. But I am really, really grateful. I think this is the beginning of something really, really good and a lot bigger. So I would like to say thank you. I am indebted. And we will definitely be having some more of these.
Sure, absolutely. Effie,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
All right.
appreciate you.
I
And
appreciate you very, very much. And yeah, let's move this bus along even further. There's so much for me to learn first, but you're so far ahead and so experienced. I know we're really lucky that Pace has created this community for us, but it kind of goes around, right? Because how lucky is Sub 2 that we have you? Very,
thank
very
you.
lucky.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. All right. We'll talk again soon. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye, Chief.